you need to have the facts of what your women are thinking and what's getting put into their minds on what they're reading. If anybody even still reads Cosmo anymore. I don't know. It's been a minute. Welcome to the CroftCast. I'm your host, John F. Croft, and we're halfway through the first month of 2021. Bam, done. Halfway. So halfway, we can round up. We'll call January over. Call it good. All good to go. Or is it? We probably still got some things we need to do in January. We got Martin Luther King Day. You know, people got to go march. You got the inauguration coming up. Like, plenty of things to do. I'm sure there's like 12 other different holidays we can squeeze into these last few weeks of the month. Sometimes some of the holidays are, I don't know, like made up. We've talked about this before. I told you. I used to think that Valentine's Day was one of those days where, well, when I was younger, you know, Valentine's Day was important, but then you discover that it's really it's a Hallmark holiday, and it's not important to me. However, those holidays that are important to those that we care about should be important to us, regardless of what the holiday is, how made up you think it is. If someone that you care about, or your friends, which you should care about your friends, otherwise they wouldn't be your friends, they'd just be someone you knew. And maybe you don't have to care about what people you know or don't know care about. But if you care about someone, it's probably good to at least be interested in what they're interested in, especially in a relationship. So it's about as Dr. Phil as I can go. Well, hold on, wait. No. I'm going to go Dr. John on y'all tonight. Today, tomorrow, whenever you're listening to this. By the way, if I didn't tell you, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, click the little buttons wherever they are, somewhere. Helps get the word out. And it's possible what comes out of my mind, one bite at a time, may just be beneficial to someone. It could be. I mean, in all sincerity. And then again, I could just be talking out of my ass. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm not going Ace Ventura on you. I'm just a guy that's doing a show. And anyway, so going back to relationships and going Dr. Phil on you. Think about it. So if something is important to someone that you care about, but you don't understand why, like, well, that seems kind of silly or made up. I'm talking to, right now, I'm not saying women tune out, but I'm talking to the guys. But this would kind of be the opposite of like Cosmo or something like that. Why do guys read Cosmo? Well, because you need to have the facts of what your women are thinking and what's getting put into their minds on what they're reading. If anybody even still reads Cosmo anymore. I don't know. It's been a minute. It's research. It's intel. And you need to know and understand why the opposite sex thinks the way they do. That's probably easier for women to figure out than for men, because women, and again, love women. Nothing wrong with women whatsoever. So I'm giving you a lot of credit here because y'all are complicated. And us guys, we're idiots. Point blank, plain and simple. Can't figure it out. So then we go, you ever watch Heartbreak Ridge? If you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's a movie about Marines. So yeah, John's going to talk about Marines. Yeah, sure, whatever. It's also got Clint Eastwood. Played a lot of different characters in a lot of different movies. So I'm not going like full Clint Eastwood on you or anything, but he was trying to rebuild his relationship with his former spouse. And so then he's reading the Cosmo magazines and stuff and like trying to figure out like, why do women think the way they do? You're not going to find all the answers in one place. It's kind of like when if for those of you that are parents, if you get your first child, you don't, well, I mean, you could go get one. You can adopt. Nothing wrong with that. Plenty of children out there that need parents. But whether you naturally have a child, adopt a child, whatever it is, that first child comes in. Maybe you grew up in a big house and you were the oldest sibling and you had to help take care of the younger ones. But now you're on your own. You got to figure it out. Sure, there are books, there are manuals, there are things that you can like read up on and try to figure out. Just like, I don't care how many years you go to school. Well, I've got a doctorate in whatever it is. Okay, let's talk about doctors, actual medical doctors. They do a lot of schooling. I have friends that are doctors. And you know what they get after they get done with all of their schooling and they do the residency and everything else? They have a license to practice. They've had all this education and training from the experts and everything, but it's a license to practice. So being a parent, being in a relationship, and as a parent, you are in a relationship. You have a relationship with your child. You also have a relationship with your spouse. Now this becomes strained because now you've got this new little person, little mini y'all infused into the situation, which changes things. It changes the dynamic of y'all's relationship, and then now you have to build this new bond and trust with this new little mini human, adorable as they are. They don't speak. They can't talk. So you got to figure things out. What do they want? What do they need? But we can apply that across the spectrum in our lives and all of our relationships. What is it? How do we effectively communicate, and how do we understand what the other person needs, feels, wants, desires? When maybe they don't want, need, feel, or desire. So time to back off. So you have to take the entire thing into consideration. By entire thing, I mean like life. I mean like all of life. And we all have different things going on at different times. Sometimes it's the right time. Sometimes it's the wrong time. We have life events happen. They do. I mean, that's why they call it life. Actually, the funny thing is, it's not funny. At the end of life, there's death. And death and taxes are the only two things that are guaranteed. So, tax day's coming up. Hope I don't die. I don't plan on it. I don't think I will. Told y'all I'm feeling pretty good. Mentally, physically, emotionally, pretty good. I know that there are those out there that are not in the same either physical or mental place. And if there's something that you can do for someone else, something that I can do for you, I mean, again, it's a tribe. We need to circle the wagons, pull the tribe together, support one another. Anyway, I went from talking about how complicated women are to all of that, and life in general is just complicated. And for us guys, it's harder to figure out because we're idiots. So for you women out there, I appreciate you. I do. I think you've heard the same. Yeah, behind every good man is a good woman. You know, a lot of cliche sayings, but those they became cliche because they were said so much. I don't know where I was going with that, but again, y'all ladies, I'm not gonna take my hat off. I tipped my hat on the last show, and I have absolutely no reason why. Not on episode 128, but on I did a one take cover of a song, and I don't know, for some reason I just decided to tip my hat. And I told y'all during that, if you go back and watch it, I said either my hat's crooked or my head's crooked. And I'm looking at this hat, and this hat looks just as crooked. So that either means that every hat that I have is just as crooked. And that's a new hat. So the new hat shouldn't be crooked. I can understand, like, hey, I'm always grabbing it on the side when I take it off, put it on, doing whatever. Or there's some, like my great grandfather's old hats. I mean, they had a crease, you know, in the top of them, because from where he always took them off, put them on. He wasn't wearing ball caps. I don't even know if they had ball caps. I mean, anyway, he's born in 1900, so I mean, they had other kind of hats. But I've come to the realization that if every one of my hats, new and old, are crooked or appear to be crooked, then I think my head's just crooked. But I don't think I've got I think I've got a decent shaped melon, if you will. I've seen worse. Probably seen better. But I remember there was this guy in boot camp that had, I may have talked about it before, but he had he was in front of me, and I had to stare at the back of his head, and his occipital bone protruded like a nose. So I'm staring at the back of this guy's head, and there's this little. It freaked me out. I'm not kidding you. I mean, it was the first time in my life that I'd ever seen the back of someone's head look like the front of their head without eyes in the mouth. It was it was a little weird. But anyway, it's I definitely digressed off way off. Anyway, let me know if you think my head's crooked or the hat's crooked. Just I'm looking for some honest feedback here. Hey John, your head's all jacked. I hold on. I can do. Now, the reason why we have the hat on is because there's a wicked glare if I take it off. I forgot to do my full makeup regime today, so I didn't powder my head. Did shave, but didn't powder. Yeah, I let my hair grow out a little bit, and I'm not talking like a lot. I mean, a few days. It got really cold last weekend, and I didn't shave last weekend because we had Snow-mageddon 2021, and it was actually it was a beautiful day in Central Texas. We had about 7 hours of continuous snow throughout the day, and it was really nice. Now, being in South Austin, we didn't get as much as the folks north of here. And I don't mean like Dallas. I just mean, like Round Rock, Pflugerville, Marble Falls, Lampasas, headed north up that direction. 10 o'clock in the morning, Haley texts me. She's in Pflugerville, and you Google it. I'm not going to put a map up here. Maybe I will. I don't know. But she sends me a picture at 10 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, hey, look at this. And like the ground outside of her apartment is completely covered. I don't have anything. It's just barely even starting to snow here. And we're like about 20 miles away as the crow flies. And I was like, oh, you know what? Snow's starting to come. I'm going to do a little time lapse. So I did a 3-hour time lapse from about 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock until the yard was completely covered. Turned out pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, I'll try to insert it maybe like here.
Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make.
Well, time lapse. I don't know. If I don't, then I'll put a link in the show notes description wherever they are. And for those of you listening to the audio only show, you're gonna have to go find that footage by either clicking on something else. Again, I'll try to leave a link for you. It kind of guides you along the way. But because I knew it was going to be cold that weekend, I decided, I think Friday night, that I would go ahead. I would make a batch of chili. Now, I don't go by recipes. I don't have a starter kit. I've got some basic concepts. So I made chili. But then you fast forward to this weekend, beautiful day, mid 60s. I think it's supposed to be almost 70 degrees tomorrow, which is going to be the 17th of January. So depending on when you're listening to this, tomorrow may have been yesterday or 3 weeks ago or a month ago. But tomorrow, right now, as this is being recorded, is the 17th of January. And it's supposed to be nearly 70 degrees. Versus last Sunday when it was 33 degrees and snowing. That's it. 2021 is going to go like this. I mean, hell, the Browns and the Bills are both in the playoffs. There's some crazy things happening already in 2021. And they both won games. They've already won games in 2021. Which I think a few years back, that one game was more than the Browns have won in like years. Don't quote me on that. I'm making fun of the Browns. I know people that are Browns fans. I know people that are Chiefs fans. And for decades, they had nothing going for them. But they were dedicated, loyal fans. And I appreciate that. Because I appreciate loyalty. But anyway, back to recipes. So fast forward from last week when I was making chili, which I did. I grilled that Sunday. I decided, you know what? I'm going to grill in the snow. So I did. Because that's how I roll. I'm not scared of a little white powder on the ground. No, I'm not. Some people freak out. I don't freak out. I used to winter. Not winter, just like a week, 10 days, whatever, up in the snow. So I've seen my share of snow. I don't like it. I enjoy it occasionally. It's a nice change of pace. But, anyway, back to today. So here we are, almost a week later. You know what? I think I'm going to make fajitas. Again, I don't have a recipe. I just know how to cook. Now, if it's something new that I need to learn how, I will look up a recipe. And I had an epiphany tonight to make something simple as fajitas. Yeah, okay. Let me back up just a little bit. I did make beans from scratch. Again, simple, not hard. And then I made rice. Then I marinated and cooked the skirt steak. Who doesn't like a good skirt? But I grilled some onions. I get all this stuff. So put it all together. Everything cooks pretty quickly. The beans I did in the pressure cooker, so they were done in 25 minutes. Rice, 15 minutes. Fajitas, 5 minutes. Done. So cook time's like 25 minutes. Tops. If you do everything at the same time. Here's the epiphany. Here's the epiphany that I had. Recipes. They give you prep time. They give you cook time. What they don't give you is the reality of the cleanup time. I'll let this sink in for just a minute. Unless you have someone to clean up for you, if you got someone to clean up for you, you may have someone to cook for you. Or maybe you're like me and you just like to cook. What I don't like to do is I don't like to clean. I'm not saying that I won't. I'm not saying that I can't. It's not enjoyable. If I had to clean before I cooked in order to eat, that would be one thing, because it would be a necessity to accomplish the task of consuming the food, the delectable food. But it's just a byproduct that we have to deal with. And there are other byproducts that we have to deal with to circle back around to relationships. Sometimes there's cleanup that's needed in a relationship. We call that communication. And by doing everything, so not just the courting, not just the having fun, but then you have to maintain or clean as you go. So I hope that's the ramblings of my mind and how things just kind of interweave together. If it makes sense, I don't know. It does to me, but in just thinking about how things have transpired over the past week and what's going on, I'm looking. I told you I'm on this house search journey. I got things going on, and I'm trying to really stay focused. Gonna keep doing the show. Just we've scaled it back, and one of the things got to have some room to relocate the CroftCast world headquarters, wherever that goes. I don't know, and you don't know. At this point, nobody knows. Nobody knows. But I appreciate y'all for listening, tuning in, watching, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side.